guys, Arwen here. So I wanted to talk to you all about 2 journaling prompts that I use all the time that help me calibrate to my life purpose and help me calibrate to my joy and help me calibrate to my happiness. So in our society, a lot of times the way, it's recommended that we do things is we say, oh, what do we want? And oh, okay, well, I want this. Well, how do I get there? Oh, well, if I do this, this, and this, then I can get there. And that is a very ego 3D way to do things. It's not wrong. It's just like the longest path possible to get where you want to go. So what I've realized, what I've noticed through my experience doing energy work for myself, for other people, the journaling that I do, etc., and sorting things out in consciousness, which is something I'm really good at, is that in order to live a life where you feel happy and you feel joyful and you feel on purpose, you need to be calibrated to what your soul wants to do, okay? So when you're doing something and you feel joyful and expanded and excited, that's because your soul wants to do it. When you're doing something and you feel depressed and like you want to slide under the table, that is because your soul doesn't want to do it. So in order to feel that that happiness and that expansion, you have to be focused on what are the things that bring me joy and what are the things that don't. And sometimes it depends on how clear your energy field is as to whether or not you can actually tap into what brings you joy. But if you're like, I really can't feel it, or I'm just not sure, or I have too many emotions going on, or there's too many other stressors in your field or other people in your field and it's hard for you to tell, one of the ways to cut through all that dross and ridiculousness is to ask yourself these 2 questions, journaling these 2 questions. What do I regret and what am I proud of? So when you regret something, you regret it because your soul told you to do it and you didn't do it, okay? That's why you regret it, because you knew you should have, right? But you didn't do it for whatever reason, who knows? So regret is your soul tells you to do something and you don't do it. And then what are you proud of? When you are proud of something, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy I did that thing. I'm just so proud that I accomplished that or that I did that, whatever it is, fill in the blank. That's because your soul told you to do it and then you actually listened and you did it, okay? So your soul, your inner guidance system, your intuition, these are all the same things in my book. It's always guiding you and telling you things to do all of the time. And when you listen, you receive more joy and more happiness in your life. And when you don't listen, you feel depressed and your soul's just gonna slide out of your body, right? That's how I feel sometimes when I realize I'm in the middle of something and I was like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. This is terrible. I don't want to do this anymore. So in order to really key into that, the journaling prompts that I suggest are, what am I proud of and what do I regret? One of the things I'm very proud of is that I did all the videos on my YouTube channel for all the different tarot cards, which honestly took me a while. It was divine inspiration to do that. My intuition was do that for every single card. I was like, what are you kidding? That's 78 cards. That's so much work. But I'm so glad and I'm so proud of myself that I did it. And journal on, what do I regret for the past 6 months? What do I regret in the past year? What do I regret in the past 2 or 3 years? You are clearly going to see in about 3 seconds all the things your soul told you to do that you have been ignoring. And also journal on what am I proud of that I did the past month, the past 3 months, the past 6 months, etc. So one of the things that I'm really proud of myself for doing is finally listening to my intuition several years ago and diving deeper into the energy work, because doing that was the answer to the question I've been having, because I was really ill and I didn't feel well and I had all the symptoms of Epstein-Barr and I was just a mess and I'd been in mold for a while and I was having breathing problems and on all that goes. And I had decided I wasn't having any more of that. I did my version of my fuck this shit ceremony back then, because it was 4.5 years ago or so. And I just decided I wasn't having any more of it. And the divine inspiration as to solve that problem was to do energy work. And I resisted it for some months and then I finally did it. And when I look back, what I regret is not doing it sooner, right? And I regret not doing it sooner because my soul was telling me to do it and I was being fussy and I didn't do it, which is my own fault, right? So I wasn't following my soul guidance. And now I look back, and if I had been really keyed into what my soul was telling me to do and actually did it instead of being whatever, out to lunch about it, I would have gotten well so much faster. So much faster. As soon as I started doing the energy work, I got better immediately. right? And now I can see so clearly that, yeah, that is something, like, I wasn't listening to my soul as fast as I could have. And I'm also very proud of myself for finally doing it, because as soon as I started to, I got better rapidly, right? And there are multiple things, like, I can feel in my body, yeah, like, I regret these past few years, like, I should have saved more money. Like, I could have, like, I was spending money on things that I didn't need to be spending them on, because I was, like, attached to certain things. And then I could have saved more than I should. Like, I probably saved about 15%, and I should have been saving about 45% out of my discretionary income that I have. And that is my fault. And I can, like, tap into myself and be like, yeah, in a parallel reality where I say what my soul was telling me to do was save about 45% of my discretionary income. And if I would have done that, I would probably have about an extra $15,000 in my savings account right now. But I didn't do that. So I don't have that. And I'm all bent out of shape about it. Because now I'm getting the impulse very clearly to buy a house, to get a fourplex, a multifamily, or a triplex or something like that. And now I'm like, yeah, I feel short. So now I'm, like, turning up my money manifestation capabilities to, like, attract all the money, obviously, because now I want to buy that house, or a house, a multifamily property. And I can see very clearly how, yeah, see, if I had been listening to my soul, like, I wouldn't need to turn on my money manifestation, like, light, because I would already have the money because I would have been listening. Now, anytime you have a desire for something, there's multiple ways the universe can bring it to you. So just because I, was flitzing around the past few years and not saving as much money as I could have been, doesn't mean that I can't still have the house. The universe is always bringing circumstances and events around to you in order to help you manifest what is on your heart. What is on your heart? What is the thing that you deeply desire? Oh my goodness, you guys, there are ants crawling on my feet. Sorry. Okay. I was like, that is very tickling. So, yeah, that's a thing. But what I want to tell you guys is that, I don't want you to, like, journal on what I regret so that you, like, beat yourself up or feel bad. That is 100% not what I want you to do. I want you to journal on what do you regret, just so that you're able to glean clearly what your soul has been telling you to do that you have been ignoring. Another question you could ask yourself too, it's a good question, is what has my soul been telling me to do that I have been ignoring, right? That's a solid question. And to just really, like, feel into it, because your emotions are your guidance system. They're letting you know what you should be focusing on, not focusing on, etc. So, use the what do I regret as a tool to help yourself catapult yourself forward and get clarity. Like, when I sat down for 45 minutes, oh, okay. Yeah, the internet went out and I snuffled, but we'll just ignore the snuffle. So when, normally I cut it out, but I don't know how to cut it out when I'm doing it live on Facebook. It's fine. Whatever. You guys love me even if I snuffle. So when I was journaling a few months ago for like 45 minutes on what do I regret, it was a little bit hard. I was a little bit uncomfortable because I really had to check in with myself, and I really had to realize, like, I have not been doing what I intuitively have been feeling like I need to be doing, and that's my fault. And I had to, like, look myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, okay, like, I have not really been listening to my soul all the way. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to it now. Okay, and it actually helped me immensely to move forward, because now I was clear, and I was clear on what was of true value to me, because your soul is always leading you to do things in alignment with your values. And it just, it is such a values clarifying exercise to really dig deep and get solid on what do you regret and what are you proud of, because that is going to tell you your deeper desires, the things that are really deeply important to you on a soul level. And when you align yourself and you align your life and your daily activities to what feels good for you on a soul level, then you're just so much happier and everything just flows and it feels really good. One of the things that I've realized is super important to me is connection with my friends and going out and doing things and having a really solid social network. So I have been going out a lot, like 8 days out of 7. And I've realized it brings me so much joy and I'm so happy. And I actually have, like, more energy even though I'm doing way more things. It's because I'm doing things that I want to do. And I used to previously have the perspective that you know, certain things I was doing, they were draining my energy, so then I was tired, so then when I go out, and then I go home, and then I would like curl up in a ball, and I would like get on my massager and like do all this self-care stuff, which is wonderful, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. However, I've noticed that doing what my soul really wants to do, which is go out constantly with my friends, makes me so much happier, and then I don't need as much downtime or as much time to like process or rejuvenate, because I feel electrified, because I've been doing what I actually really want to do, right? And I know, like, I talk about this a lot on my channel, I talk about it a lot on all my like blog posts I have on my website and on Facebook and whatnot, but I myself am always calibrating to soul alignment. I myself am always calibrating to my solid values and what I truly actually want to do. And you know, the more I'm able to just free myself and allow myself to do what feels good and tap into that and give myself permission to do that, the more on fire I feel, the more excited I feel, that like the happier I am, and the more I drop all of my ego's bullshit, because it's so much bullshit. So in our society, like a lot of times people will do this when it's like the new year. They're like, oh, what are your goals? Like, what do you want? What do you want? Write that down, and then, you know, work back how to get to that goal. Problem is that when you say, what do I want? Your ego jumps in there and it's like, oh, I want all this stuff. Your ego's like, oh, I want a new car. I want $10,000. I want $1 million. Your ego's like, oh, I want this, 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 and this. The problem with calibrating to what your ego says you should do is that your ego is doing things out of fear, and your ego is doing things because it feels like it wants to be safe, or fill in the blank, right? A lot of times we'll be like, oh, I want this car, and if you really dig deep into it, the reason why is because you want to feel like you're good enough, or you want to feel like you're worthy enough, or something like that, right? And that's not a soul desire. Your soul honestly could care less what kind of car you have. It doesn't matter in least. It's like, whatever. Your soul is more interested in the things that makes it feel excited and happy and joyful, and you want to calibrate to that. Another example, sometimes people will be like, oh, I want this sort of business, or I want this sort of job, or I want this sort of relationship. But if you dig deep into that, the reason why they want that is because they want to feel safe. They want to feel like they're taken care of, and they're not, you know, going to be hung out to dry financially and have all this trouble, etc. That's a lot of times it's a very common like why somebody has. But again, that's coming from the ego, that's coming from the wounding, that's coming from the part of you that feels like it needs something outside of itself in order to be okay. It needs something outside of itself in order to be safe, in order to be loved, in order to be whatever. And then when you get the thing that your ego's wanted for so long, you feel unfulfilled because your soul didn't want it. If you feel fulfillment on a daily basis, it's because you're doing what your soul wants you to do. If you feel bereft and depressed and like, it's because you're doing what your ego is telling you to do and not what your soul is telling you to do. And that is the clearest way that I know how to say that. So you've got to calibrate to your soul what brings you joy. And if you're not able to fully tap into like what brings you joy and what you really want to be doing, then journal on what do I regret and what am I proud of. Right? That will help you immensely, and then you'll have a lot of clarity. And I've like done this multiple times in the past several months as I've been like peeling back the layers and feeling deeper and deeper in what I want to do. And you can also journal on that for different areas of your life, and that will help you all a lot. Okay guys, well, I'm gonna go inside, make some more coffee, and get it together. So, alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye.